Hey, so welcome back to another one, you guys. If you are new to the channel, my name is Andrew with Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on our inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we're in the brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser because this one is back from the dead. You gotta love it. Plenty of off-road capability as well. Of course, you got the four-wheel drive system, but you also have low-range gearing. You got locking differentials. You got crawl control as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there will be a few different configurations for the 2024 Land Cruiser. You got the 1958 edition, which is the one we are in today, starting at $55,950. You have the mid-range Land Cruiser starting at $61,950. Then you got the first edition starting at $74,950. But regardless of the configuration that you go with, the power plant on this thing is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid with 2 electric motors. And yes, this is the same power plant as the new 2024 Tacoma, in case you were curious about that. 326 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 465 pound-feet of torque coming in at 1,700 RPM. Power being sent to all 4 wheels through Toyota's full-time 4-wheel drive system. Gotta love that. Power sent to the ground through an 8-speed automatic. 0 to 60 time should come in at approximately 6.6 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 22 in the city, 25 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the Land Cruiser, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes, because there are plenty of them, both on and off-road drive modes. So let me touch on the on-road first. There's a circular dial located just in front of the shifter. If you turn that to the left and to the right, you got Eco, Normal, and Sport. And then the off-road drive modes are going to consist of Auto, Dirt, Snow, Mud, Rock, and Deep Snow. So quite a bit of adjustments there. So now that we got all of that out of the way, for now, since we're on road, let's go ahead and let me put it in sport driving mode. Let's find a straightaway and let's see how quickly we can get our new Land Cruiser here up to speed. All right, found our straightaway here in 3, 2, 1, go. It's okay. All right, that'll get the job. That'll get the job done. Not the quickest thing in the world. Kind of expected a little bit more than that, but this is a beast of an SUV, so it'll certainly get the job done. There was a little bit of lag at the beginning as well, which is kind of surprising because it's got dual electric motors. I wasn't expecting that, but it's all good. I mean, you're not going to have any issues emerging onto the highway. It's just kind of surprising, that's all. But anywho, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 17-inch ventilated front discs. Those are some massive front discs. In the back, 17-inch solid rear discs, so same size back there. As far as how braking feel goes, I love it. It's on the firm side of things. You guys know I love firm braking feel, so it definitely brings you to a nice stop in the Land Cruiser. So 100% not going to have any issues there. But the bread and butter of the Land Cruiser, you guys know, is got to be the suspension. So let me touch on the suspension a little bit. Up front, you're going to get an independent double wishbone type front suspension. In the back, 4-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. And like I said, it's got crawl control for the beach. At least that's what I've used it for before. If you go to Aztec Island in Maryland, I've gone into Rubicon on the beach there, but the Land Cruiser should definitely do perfectly fine on that beach as well. It's also got downhill assist control. It's got center and rear locking differentials. And yes, that comes standard on every single trim level across the board. So you gotta love that. So that can actually split the power 50-50 for improved traction and reduced wheel spin, of course. It's got an available front stabilizer bar disconnect system. That's pretty cool as well. That increases the suspension flex. But overall, as far as ride quality goes, it's actually been perfectly fine in my short little test drive here today. So I 100% don't have any issues. I will say the roads in Hagerstown are pretty darn nice, but still, no issues for me. As far as cabin noise goes, I'm going 56 miles per hour right now, so I'll let you guys be the test. Maybe a little bit of wind noise, but other than that, it's perfectly fine. I don't have any issues there. As far as steering feel goes, it's actually really, really good. I like it. So it's a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. Traditionally in SUVs, you find a loosey-goosey steering feel and it's unemotional, but so it's got a nice little weight to it. So I really like the steering feel in the Land Cruiser. Then touching on visibility, there's no possible way you should have any issues with rear visibility in this thing just because of the shape of it. It's like the boxiest SUV in history. So definitely no issues with rear visibility. Rain sensing windshield wipers, touching on forward visibility, does also come standard. So whenever the Land Cruiser detects any kind of mist or rain rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers. So just one less thing you got to worry about there, kind of like automatic headlights. And also on forward visibility, there is a head-up display that comes on the first edition trim level only. So, and that's going to project your speed limit, safety features up onto your windshield, better helping keeping your eyes on the road so you can better enjoy your drive in the Land Cruiser. So that's always nice too. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let me take this thing off-road a little bit and let's check out the exterior of our brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser, finished in ice cap, in case you were curious of the exact exterior color name that we had on this one. But let's go ahead and start with my favorite part. Let's go ahead and check out where this one is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter J, indicating that the Land Cruiser is built and assembled in Japan, specifically Tokyo, in case you were curious. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. Toyota Heritage front grille does come standard across the board. You might recognize that if you've seen the Land Cruisers before. To the sides, LED headlights do come standard for all trim levels. However, they will differ in design depending upon the trim level that you go with. So we have the Heritage inspired circular lights. That's going to come on the 1958 that we have today, and the first edition trim level. However, if you were to go at that mid-grade Land Cruiser, you're actually going to get kind of the last generation's rectangular style lights. So I like that look too. I think both of them actually look good, so I would be fine with either one, honestly. LED daytime running lights do come standard. You get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So gotta love that. LED fog lights do come standard on all trim levels across the board. I don't know why I didn't turn them on for this part of the video, but they are down there. You guys could see those. Also, front skid plates actually do come standard on all trim levels across the board down there as well. So, by the way, 8 inches of ground clearance, in case anybody was curious about that. And you actually do get upgraded skid plates if you were to go with that first edition trim level. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out the front end of the Land Cruiser. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, roof rails do come standard on the mid-grade. Rock rails do come standard then on the first edition, and we actually have that as an option on our 1958, in case you were curious. But rear privacy glass, of course, does come standard as well. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they will be finished in a gloss or matte black, depending upon the configuration that you go with. They are power adjustable. They are heated then as well. As far as the running boards go, of course, there's plenty of different options there, but illuminated running boards are optional on the mid-grade, and there are other options available like our 1958. They don't come standard on the 1958, but again, they're optional if you wanted them. Taking a look at the wheel setup, these are pretty darn good looking wheels if you ask me. So you get 18-inch dark gray metallic alloys for the 1958 that we have today. I love the design. I think they look amazing on the Land Cruiser. Also then 18-inch matte gray alloys for the mid-grade, and then 18-inch matte black alloys for the first edition. So a little bit different of a design dependent upon the configuration that you go with. But what's also kind of interesting that kind of stood out to me was a lot of times I'll say floating roof line on the C-pillar. You guys can see that black line that separates the roof from the rest of the body. But you also got a floating roof line on the A-pillar as well, and that's something that you don't ever see. So it's kind of making it look like the roof is just floating as far as the design language goes. So I think that's the first time I've ever seen it in the front. Usually they'll do a gloss black A-pillar. Toyota's done that plenty of times, but I've never seen just the floating line in the A-pillar. So kind of interesting. Anyways, thought I'd point it out. That pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, there actually is a gloss black shark fin antenna. It's kind of hiding underneath of that rock rack up top there, but rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Rear spoiler is going to be finished in gloss black. Got the rear window wiper back there as well. You got the Toyota and Land Cruiser badging. One of the cool things about the back end in typical Toyota fashion, I'll show this to you guys. You guys see this button right here? I'm going to go ahead and press it. That actually opens up the rear glass. There's a handle right here. I don't know why I didn't grab that first, but that's pretty cool. So if you back this thing up on the beach, because it is very capable on the beach, you can just simply chill in the cargo area, maybe eat a sandwich or something and check out the ocean. So yeah, that's awesome. So anyhow, wanted to show that to you guys. But then just below it all, of course, you will find a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away. And having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. right, zooming out since we are around to the back of the Land Cruiser. When it comes to opening that rear tailgate, it is a manual tailgate if you were to go with the 1958 like we have today. However, for the mid-grade in the first edition, that is going to be a power tailgate in case you wanted that. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 37.5 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed that. 120 volt power outlet though does come standard for all trim levels across the board, so that's pretty darn cool. LED cargo lighting back there as opposed to the halogen bulbs, also liked that. There's some chrome plated tie down anchors back there as well, and a little bit of in-floor storage, just a little bit if you were to lift up on that back portion underneath of that cargo floor there. But the spare tire is actually located down below. You guys probably saw it with the exhaust B-roll shot that I showed you guys there, but anywho, that's there as well. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 26.7 inches, which on paper is not the best. So for reference, I'll give this a shot here. I'm an even 6 feet tall. Actually wasn't too bad for me. It seemed perfectly fine, so I don't have any issues there, even though that number is not the best. But also for those rear passengers, they do have a rear center armrest with cup holders. There's a 12 volt power outlet, 2 USB charging ports, and by the way, tri-zone climate control does come standard on the Land Cruiser, so both driver, passenger, and the rear passengers can set their own individual temperatures, so that's pretty darn cool. And by the way, the ventilation is found on the roof or ceiling, however you want to put it, of the Land Cruiser, as opposed to just in front of those rear seats where traditionally is found in most SUVs. So wanted to mention that as well. But then make our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seats for the 1958. I actually do like the feeling of these cloth seats. So every cloth seat is different. These are pretty darn cool though. Heated front seats for all trim levels across the board. I like that. Softex upholstery for that mid-grade trim. Leather seating for the first edition. You will find a power driver seat with power lumbar for the mid-grade and first edition, and then ventilated front seats for the mid-grade and first edition as well. Having said that, you don't always need power adjustable seats to find your perfect driving position. I actually was perfectly fine with these seats, so I found them plenty comfortable. And traditionally, Toyota and Lexus do an incredible job with their seat comfort, and yeah, I definitely didn't have any issues. But let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel here, because it's a pretty cool design. Tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped. It's power adjustable for the mid-grade and first edition, and you got that heritage Toyota lettering found spelled out horizontally just in the front of the steering wheel there too, so pretty cool. But let's go ahead and make our way to the startup here. Let me start by showing you guys the key. All of your buttons are located on one side of the key. Got your Toyota logo, lock and unlock, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start for all trim. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just by the driver's right knee. And so when it comes to the gauge cluster, it is going to differ depending upon the trim that you go with. So you're going to find a 7-inch digital screen for our 1958 trim that we have with us here, but then there's going to be a 12.3-inch full digital gauge cluster for the mid-level and the first edition trim level. So, and by the way, when you change the drive mode, it is going to adjust the colors ever so slightly up there. For example, if I were to put it in sport, you're going to get some red hues. Eco is going to give you green, and normal is going to give you blue, and kind of match up better with everything else. But of course, there are steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. You can display different things up there since it is a digital screen after all. There's trip A, trip B, there's outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty. So pretty much everything you could possibly want in a digital gauge cluster. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality here. If you want a power moonroof, go with the first edition, because that's the trim that's going to give it to you. LED interior lighting does come standard, and the crazy thing about the LED interior lighting is there's literally no button for it. You just tap the light and it's going to turn on and off. So that's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. I like it. Got a leather wrapped shift boot here. That's pretty cool as well. Wireless phone charger is going to come on the first edition trim level only. You get an auto dimming rear view mirror with HomeLink controls for up to 3 different garage doors. That comes standard for all trim levels across the board. Like I said, tri-zone climate control as well. I like the Land Cruiser lettering spelled out just above the passenger side glove box. That looks pretty cool. In lieu of a wireless phone charger, just in front of the shifter, you actually have a little bit of just matte black storage. It's not even rubberized, but it's probably where you're going to put yourself in more than likely. Just behind that, you got dual cup holders, and within the center armrest, there's a ton of space in there. But so now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen here. You're going to find an 8-inch color touchscreen display from the 1958, 12.3-inch color touchscreen display to go with the mid-level and the first edition trim levels. But Bluetooth and audio streaming does come standard either way. You get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Could check out your driving statistics up there if you wanted to, of course, along with your radio information. And so when it comes to the sound systems. There's a different sound system for each trim level, believe it or not. So for the 1958, we're gonna get 6 speakers. For the mid-grade, you're gonna get 10 speakers. And for the first edition, you're gonna get a 14 speaker JBL sound system. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today. And let's test out our 6 speaker sound system that we have with us here today. All right, I know I said 6 speakers, but that's probably the best 6 speaker sound system I've ever heard. That was really good. And by the way, this knob, I can tell you, was right off the Toyota Corolla. That volume knob, I should say. But yeah, plenty of bass, like surprising amount of bass, plenty of clarity as well. So to be honest, for me, I don't mind that 6 speaker sound system. That was actually really good, but anywho, surprising. Last thing I want to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Land Cruiser in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. Not the highest quality rear view camera out there, but it does get the job done nonetheless, which as always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which gives you a good bit. Gives you pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert with steering assist, lane tracing assist, road sign assist, proactive driving assist, front and rear parking sensors, and a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. That's a ton of standard safety there. So anyways, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Land Cruiser, little bit smaller in size than the previous generation, which if you're off-roading, that is actually a good thing. If you're looking for an off-road vehicle, it is a good thing that it is smaller, so that's kind of cool. More affordable than the previous generation as well. That was the first thing that came to mind when I saw this one originally when it was released, is the fact that it's substantially less expensive than the previous generation as well. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow Younger Toyota on social media at the bottom of the screen. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews and all of our fun YouTube shorts we put on our channel as well. We do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and we will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.